Hey, what's up guys? So in this one, I'm gonna talk about my perspective on retirement, and what that means to me, what I'm gonna do after I get to that financial independence number, and then how I'm getting there, right? How I'm actually coming up with the funds to retire. So for me, after I reach retirement, after I get the number that I'm looking for in passive income or investments, whatever, I am trying to work as long as possible. I'm not trying to just hit that number, have plenty of money to cover my expenses, and then just veg out on the beach forever, for the next 40, 50 years. That's really not the idea. The idea is really to come up with a number so that I'm not dependent on my job or any one job, any one thing. I have enough in passive income and investments that I could do whatever I feel like. And that could mean, spending time working on things that I'm interested in, passionate about, or just taking time off, maybe like for family or emergencies. If things came up, I have the option to just take 6 months off. And then one thing that I really wanted to share is, for me, I'm not trying to retire with as little as possible, right? I'm not trying to hit like a number that's I could just bare minimum live off of. I'm not trying to come up with $1,000 a month and then just once I get it, I'm gonna live off the grid for the next 30, 40, 50 years. Okay, so to me, I need a little bit more than that. I want a little bit more cushion than that. Even if I could live off 1,000, there are things in this world that you can't control. If there's a downturn, if there's inflation, if anything happens, I don't want to live off the bare minimum. And I'm not trying to just be as frugal as possible forever. So I understand, being frugal, delayed gratification, just waiting until you're at a really good point to really do what you want, but I'm not trying to do that forever. That's not the idea. You should do that at the beginning just to build things up. But at some point, you should be living it up. Come on, that's the whole idea. Why do all this work and then not live it up, to just continue scrimping? Because really for me, I really want to buy what I want. I want to get what I want, go where I want. And when I travel, I want to do whatever I want, stay at the nice places, eat the nice dinners. I want all of that. But I'm not just saying, hey, I just want everything. No, I'm working for it. I'm planning for it. I'm doing things to put myself in position where I could do that kind of stuff all the time, easy, right? Every month I have income coming that's way more than what I need to spend, even if I do all of these nice things. And I'm trying to, not just take care of myself, right? Like just enough for me to live off of. I'm trying to do things where I could take care of my family, right? The people around me, my kids, my wife, and extended family, anybody outside, and even be able to help people in the community, right? I get to a point where I can actually give back and actually, do some damage, right? That can actually have an impact. So if you're thinking about FIRE or lean FIRE, right? And you're really increasing your savings rate, that part is amazing. I love that, right? Where you're just cutting expenses, looking at ways to maybe make more money or save more money. It's really great. That's key. You have to do that if you want to do anything with your money, right? Grow it to any point to do anything with. But there's parts of it that I don't fully agree with, or I've seen some people, that are just so extreme. That's what I'm trying to say. So I'm all about balance, right? So if there's things that you need, then you need it, right? And there's a lot of things that are, come on, you could be frugal or you could be super cheapskate. So don't be a super cheapskate. That's what I'm trying to say. If you have something that you need, and I'd rather spend on something that's quality than just buy a bunch of super cheap stuff and then having to buy that nice thing later on anyway. So you don't want to go to any one extreme. When you go extreme, that's when I feel like, man, that's just not good for your health. That's just not good for you. If you go to the extreme where you're super cheap, or you go crazy and you overspend, like you blow your credit card max out every month. So one thing I notice is a lot of people might be, they're just trying to be realistic, right? Like I think that's all I can save with my income and with what I have going on. I can only come up with this number, and it's realistic. I can reach that. So for me, I'm like thinking, man, why think like that? Why limit yourself? I know you got what you got, but why not think a little bigger, right? Aim a little bigger. Because what happens is a lot of times when you aim for these bigger numbers, these numbers that, I could live a little better if I had 2,000 a month, 5,000 a month. Why not come up with these numbers that really push you to do something about it? I know, sometimes people might be like, yeah, but I think 1,000 is enough. I can live off 1,000. But in 30 years from now, can you live off 1,000? Why don't you aim for 5,000? And then if you only hit 3,000, you're gonna be just fine, right? You can have that and some other things going on, you can still survive. But if you just aim for 1,000, you got it, and you quit your job, I just want to put this out there that, hey, maybe give yourself a little more cushion. All right, so this is what I would do if I was starting from scratch. If I was starting all over again, how would I try to reach retirement? So for me, I would start off with your income, right? That's so key. If you don't make enough money, there's nothing you could do, right? If you're just scraping by just to cover your basic expenses, you're not gonna have anything left over to work with, right? What can you do? So whatever you gotta do, side hustle, or maybe, go back to school. Whatever you can do with the time you gotta make more money. And then you gotta look at all your expenses. What can you cut out from your expenses? Make sure you're tracking all your expenses, all your income, all of your expenses, and then seeing if there's anything you can cut, like you don't need, because you'll be surprised. Once you start looking at a spreadsheet of all the things that you're spending your money on every single month, start cutting the fat. So with that, you should be able to save some money. So that is the key, right? Doing those things to come up with a really high savings rate so that you can use that money to invest. And then the first thing I would do is, if you're first starting out and you don't have a lot of savings, a lot of cash to invest in, just open a brokerage account, start with a low cost S&P 500 index fund, and just keep throwing money in there regularly. Grow that thing, just grow that thing until you get to a decent point. So then there's a couple ways to do it, right? For me, I'm really hands-on, right? So I'm willing to just do what it takes to do real estate, to get that going, to manage tenants, contractors, agents, everything that takes. I don't care, because I believe in it and I know that will really set me up for the future. But if you're not into that at all, right? You're not hands-on, I don't want to be passive, I don't want to touch anything, then just stick with that S&P 500 index fund. So my perspective on that is I would have a really strong baseline of index funds, right? Where you have like at least $10,000. But for me, I have a 401k. So if you have a 401k and your company matches a certain amount, I would say just keep buying S&P 500 with that and getting your company match free money every single month, every single paycheck. So then after that, I would take any extra money. For me personally, I would invest in good, strong, long-term companies that have really high potential of making money or growing in the long term, and then buying them when they're on sale, as in when they hit support levels. And if you're not comfortable with that either, then I would just say fully S&P 500 index funds. You cannot go wrong with that. Even though I think personally there are better ways to use your money that could make you more money, but if that's not for you, I understand, don't do that. So if you are willing to just do anything, do what it takes to hit retirement, to hit your goals, then I would suggest real estate. So if you're able to have a really strong baseline of S&P 500 index funds, right? You grew it to a really good amount, I would just take that thing and invest in real estate, rental real estate, where I can make cash flow, right? That's my sort of dividend, right? Where you buy a rental property, you maybe fix it up, add value, something that's below market, and then rent it all out and get a nice cushion, 5 to 10% of cash flow. Money you get in the bank every single month when people pay you rent. You get all the tax benefits, so you're not paying the same taxes as like dividends or any other thing. So there's so many tax benefits to that. So after real estate though, I would say it's really hard to just save money from your job. So for me, I would really look into a business, something that can help me grow my capital. So that's something that I think if you are the type and you have an idea and you're willing to do what it takes, you gotta consider starting a business, maybe an online business, something where you can grow your money a lot faster or just make a lot more money. Because if you're just at your job, even if you have a 50% savings rate, I mean, how long is it gonna take for you to save that next down payment for like a rental property? And the idea with this is to have multiple streams of income, right? You can have your main job 9 to 5, have a side hustle, but if you got rental income coming in, or you started some kind of online business or like a physical business, whatever works for you, these are all things that can keep you afloat even if any one thing went out, if any one thing didn't work, if you lost your job, right? Or if you had to take time off for whatever reason, you have other ways to survive and grow your money. All right, so for this video, I really wanted to share my perspective on what a retirement looks like, right? So the main idea is really just to have a balance. You should be able to do what you want, but not go crazy. And it should not just be full frugal, scrimping, cheapskate mode forever. I mean, I know people, there's different variations of that, but I want to do what I want. I want to take care of my family. College is covered. I want to have all of these things in place where people around me are not worried. Not just, my living expenses for the moment is covered. Look at some of these things that I hear sometimes where folks are really trying to live off the bare minimum. And I don't really agree with that, right? Sometimes in life, things will come up. If you cut it a little too close, you're not giving yourself a lot of cushion, things can happen. And, you don't want to be stuck at 70, 80, 90 years old. And you're like, oh, I cut it a little too close, and now it's not cutting it. It's not working out, and I have to move. I have to cut everything and try to survive, or have other people take care of me. So I'm just sharing this, so that's just my perspective on it, and I hope folks don't have to deal with that later in life. I made some videos on real estate investing and stocks that go into detail on how I look at those things. Go ahead and check that out. And let me know what you think about retirement, right? How do you view it? What is your game plan for this? I'd like to know, and thanks for watching, and good luck out there.